You are watching Whispered Crimes, where the darkest stories are told in a voice just loud enough to haunt you. On February 9th, 2004, a 21-year-old nursing student named Maura Murray vanished without a trace. Her disappearance is one of the most haunting cold cases in modern American history, and nearly 2 decades later, the mystery still remains unsolved. But what really happened to Maura? Let's go back to the beginning. Maura was a promising young student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Smart, athletic, quiet. But in the days leading up to her disappearance, something changed. On February 5th, Maura received a phone call while working her campus security job. Immediately after, she broke down in tears. The call's contents were never made public. Her supervisor had to escort her back to her dorm. The next day, she searched online for directions to Burlington, Vermont. 2 days after that, she emailed her professors, claiming there had been a death in the family. But there was no death. It was a lie. She withdrew $280 from her bank account, bought alcohol at a local liquor store, packed up some of her personal belongings, and drove off. No one knows exactly where she was going. At around 7:27 p.m. in the small town of Haverhill, New Hampshire, Maura crashed her car into a snowbank. A local bus driver, Butch Atwood, stopped to help. He said she seemed shaken, but not hurt. Maura told him she had already called AAA, but that wasn't true. Phone records show no call was ever placed. Atwood returned to his nearby house and called 911. When police arrived just minutes later, Maura was gone. Her car was locked. Inside were her belongings, a box of wine, some clothes, and a stuffed animal. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the scene. No signs of a struggle, no blood, no broken glass. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Now here's where things get strange. The location where she crashed was remote, surrounded by dense forest and steep hills. The temperature that night was freezing. If Maura had wandered off into the woods, she could have died of exposure. But extensive searches by dogs, helicopters, and volunteers turned up nothing. Years passed. Theories piled up. Some believed Maura ran away to start a new life. After all, she had lied about the death in the family. She had withdrawn money. She had even packed her textbooks. But Maura left behind everything: her family, her boyfriend, her future. There was never any confirmed sighting of her again. Others believed she was abducted. Maybe someone picked her up before police arrived. Maybe someone local. But again, there were no tire tracks, no witnesses, no screams. Her cell phone was never used again. Her bank account remained untouched. In the years that followed, Maura's family continued the search. Her father, Fred Murray, was relentless. He believed Maura had been murdered, and that someone in the town knew more than they were saying. Online communities took up the case. Reddit threads, forums, podcasts, everyone had a theory. One of the more disturbing details: a search dog tracked Maura's scent about 100 yards from the crash. Then it stopped abruptly in the middle of the road. That suggested just one thing: she may have gotten into a car. But whose? In 2017, law enforcement dug up a nearby property after a tip came in. Ground-penetrating radar had detected something suspicious under the concrete. The dig found nothing. Even today, nearly 20 years later, there are more questions than answers. Why did Maura lie to her professors? Why did she head to rural New Hampshire without telling anyone? What really happened in the final minutes before the police arrived? Her family still holds out hope for closure. Her case remains open. Her disappearance unexplained. And Maura Murray remains missing. If you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.